and they're going to have to cut through several teams to make it in the safe zone.
Yeah, they're north of El Azahar, and this circle is centered around La Bendita almost. So that is a tremendous amount of distance they're going to have to cross, and it looks like for now they're going to be able to successfully rotate around GEX. Ghost, of course, has set up pretty central here on the edge of the crater.
So right now we're looking at 15, 16, 17, 18. These guys are vying for their life. Fatal gets a line of sight back over towards W-Click. Remember, there was a couple of exchanges already happening with them. T1 running along the side of Ghost Gaming right now. Looks like Helen wants this complex. They're committing. The sprays coming through. Beautiful seed swap to keep them alive. Jeff Locke does go down off of it, but now we've got T1 looking back over towards Ghost. Drassel's trying to find the angle for it. The approach is coming through. Vegas is holding down the top. He's all by himself inside of this building. The support from Ghost is coming around the outside of it. Helen's trying to find a sight line, but just can't see anybody yet.
Yeah, Helen takes a few shots at Vegas as he's running out, doesn't connect with anything there, trying to cover the outside for T1. They are going to be able to get the res onto Jeff Locke. It looks like Ghost has backed off a little bit, and for now, a slight beachhead has been established for this Korea team.
This feels like two different conflicts right now. T1 knows that Ghost is in competition with them. They're playing it a little bit more aggressive on it. Ghost still opting into that defensive style. They're not going to get that. They're allowing that res to go off, and that could backfire in their face terribly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard when you're in this situation because you don't want to overcommit and end your tournament life. This is everything on the line for Ghost Gaming. At least for T1, you can hang your hat on it and say we're already in.
There's no information being gathered right now. They're just holding angles, waiting for somebody to hopefully walk in front of them. That's so dangerous at this point because now they don't know what's rotating around them. Drassel's kind of the guy that's on the outside trying to feed information back towards everybody, but look at Vegas moving up on top. This could be a huge, sneaky angle, but we have seen T1 use this in the past. They should be aware that somebody could approach from up here.
Yeah, and if they were paying attention during the last game yesterday on Miramar, DJ from one of the Chinese teams was up on that angle as well, and just sniffed him out despite losing.
And have to be very careful with these peeks back over towards it. Meanwhile, slowly creeping off to the side of it. It's got two different buildings lined up. Couple of exchanges, but remember, when we see these prolonged exchanges like that, losing helmets, losing armor makes you so much more vulnerable. But it feels like T1, everything rests on this back position. Meanwhile, for Ghost, it's Drassel just trying to creep over and hopefully get something. They're down to 3 right now, and there are 4 still up for T1.
These teams got to be careful. The more noise they make, the more attention they're going to attract. And oh my God, he saw his foot. He's going to get knocked. Vegas is going to find the head, and that is one laying down now for T1.
Look at the reaction come out from T1. They tried to defend instantly. That's going to be McCoy going down. Exchange going back over towards Helen. Going to force him back around the other side of this. T1 now starting to be a little bit more contained. A lot of flanks coming through, but that's going to be Vegas down. Now just Drassel. Remember, Ghost needs a big game, and they are now down to 1 alive. They have to be so careful.
This could be disaster. Ghost Gaming is
eliminated.
They are eliminated. Let's see if T1 can get the revive onto a COD like I was talking about. Too much attention has been drawn to this location, and Lazarus is moving in.
Lazarus hears noise, and they want to kill. They're running a separated split off of this, and they're like, hey, we hear people killing things. Let's go over there anyway. We know it's really far away, but you never know. We might get something out of it. So Siv's off over here by his lonesome, looking around saying, hey, maybe I can get it down, but nah, this feels a little bit too risky. We'll just retreat back over there.
Oh, and now Vendetta's found an angle into this as well. Icon gets the knock onto a COD, but quickly Adder is there to get the revive. So as T1 took a lot of damage throughout this situation, a ton of their utility, their helmets and their vests are beat the hell up.
I love this. Lazarus is like, well, we can't kill you, but we'll just make sure your rotations suck. Let's just take out all of your tires, walk away, and now you just get a walk across Miramar.
Yeah, that's not ideal this early in the Miramar phase. You want to have a few vehicles available to make those quick rotations across the terrain.
He leaves afterwards. He's like, my job is done. I return to my people. So now it's about rotations coming through. We've been caught up in a lot of early game skirmishes. So you can see HQ looking back over towards Sting Divine right now. Got a nice angle back over towards Milk, trying to get away from that. Looks like he should make it back around the hillside, but HQ is going to have to figure out, okay, how do we handle this? They do have the inside gatekeeping position back towards Sting Divine, though.
Yeah, somehow Milk is just able to find an angle behind these Twin Peaks to give himself enough time to get his heal off. He was almost knocked down, but SR is going to group up with him. They are going to move their way into the top part of Minas Generales.
So now you can see GEX just to the south of that. Lazarus kind of contained around a similar location. Vendetta's taking some shots back over towards Sun Sister, going to connect with them. So it's a lot of late rotations coming in for a couple of these guys as, yep, you can see the shots coming back over towards Kendesu, and he goes down. Gabba's still playing off on the other side of that. 3 members for Sun Sister still up and alive, and they are in the safe zone, but they're just not in a comfortable position inside the safe zone. Yeah,
a big loss there for the Sun Sisters. They really need 4 alive and getting into the late game to have a real good shot at this. Sting Divine still 4 for themselves. They are very much in this as well with 46 points. Not too far off of that 54 that AHQ currently holds. So a lot of the teams that are still in this are still in the game, Matcham.
So look at this. You see Red Canids have actually posted up directly in the crater of La Bendita. We don't see that happen too often because you lose so much information. You're in a bubble at that point. You can look around and see if anybody crests up and over, but you have no idea what's happening on the outside of those walls. Look at this. Sun Sister running back down, but they're going to bounce around where we see Sting Divine at. They do lose one inside of that rotation, so that's going to be Levis that gets the shots back over towards him, but I think he's got a little bit of a wall and should have some smokes to play with. Meanwhile, Sting Divine, they still need to make it inside the safe zone. Are they going to choose to crash that angle? Looks like they're at least going to approach along it. Jet looks like he wants this. He's going to deny. 2 jump off, looking around the angles for it. You can see Gabba's just waiting to see where the push comes from. He's going to line up towards Turtle, trying to connect with a shot. Turtle just keeps powering through, and now everything's come apart for Sun Sister, and they're out.
And that is going to be the end of the Sun Sisters in this tournament. What a push here by Sting Divine. The confidence, the chutzpah to do this was incredible.
I love the word chutzpah. Thank you for using that there. So now you got Sting Divine looking back through. They managed to make it to the safe zone, but now they got to go again because just south of Minas Generalis is going to be where the circle's at. You can see the Red Canids are posted up in that position. We do have Faze pushing back over towards Afrika Freaks Fatal right now. I don't know if these 2 members are aware of it. With the vehicle reposition, there might have been a couple of shots that come through, but Uba might have an angle back on the side of this depending on how they rotate.
Yeah, the Freaks only have 2 members left. Yes, they have 2 kills, but look at that, 46 points for them. They need to post up a huge round to get into this. So right now they have to play for the late game and then try to get some kills.
Red Canids, what is going on? You're supposed to be holding down this crater. They've just let 2 different teams encroach on this point. You can see that QM's off on the other side of it, and AFF just ran down inside of it. They don't have any good firing angles from this point. Sure, they can play for position, but we've seen that does not work at this stage.
Yeah, they had a good spread, and then they kind of condensed it when this next circle came through. Helen's going to get a knock onto Vendetta, looking to secure themselves some more points, find a way into that final next weekend, and nothing there for Adder right now after getting that first knock.
So now you can see T1 looking back over towards this angle. I don't think that there's anybody left that they can really take shots at except for 1 more member of Vendetta that, I think 2 actually, that might need to make a push along the side. But really, Sting Divine just continuing their motorcycle rampage across the map is catching a little bit of air here. They've got the ghillie suit on the back of the motorcycle. I don't think that helps a whole bunch, but we do have Vendetta. It's going to take a couple of shots, but remember, we just saw T1 also has a firing line across this side. QM was also trying to encroach up over here as well as Faze. So they're opting into playing in the blue. That's going to take a lot of damage. Once they turn in, if anybody has a sight line for it, it's going to be very dangerous. That's why they're medding up right now. Stop, take the time, make that last little push, and pray nobody connects with any bullets. Meanwhile, Vendetta's just full on Synta time.
Oh, no.
They lose a tire. That's bad. Trying to stay alive out of it, jumping out of the vehicles, trying to use it for cover, but there's so many firing angles coming back towards them. That's another down going back over towards T1.
The SLRs are raining death and destruction here onto Vendetta. Their tournament hopes being dashed as this goes down. That tractor is not enough protection, but ooh, Chaiwei is gonna steal one of those kills from T1. That's actually kind of a big deal.
I like how T1 looks over. Adder's like, I keep taking my kills. Looks off over to the left there. So now you can see Lazarus still running their split right back over here next to T1. Keep hearing firefights, and they're just very interested in it. With this, it feels like La Bendita is probably going to be where our end point is going to be at. It's going to try to probably shift away from Minas Generalis. A lot of the planes are now out of the circle, so it's going to be a lot of rough terrain points. You can see QM does look back over towards one of the members of STV, but QM has so many defensive line points right here.
I tell you what, if you're STV, this is not the team you want to run into. QM is absolutely on fire today. Circle just centers up right over La Bandita. Meanwhile, the battle rages on here between QM and Sting Divine.
But Faze hears this, and they're pushing up on the other angle as well. Faze looks back down towards this. You can see Levis trying to move back around this, but it's going to be Faze that's starting to peek up on the side of it. Sting Divine is in a lot of trouble, but now QM could find themselves literally in a barrel that they could be shot out of.
Oh, what a grenade lands right on top of GYY. Good grenade from Uba, looking for him to light the scoreboard up. Levis is prone, getting some smokes down. Faze is gonna spot out Liga, and out goes QM in 11th place.
All right, Faze, it's the last game. You're playing for pride at this point. I mean, it's a long reach to make it back up there, but the dream could exist if they have a giant 20-plus game. There is
I tell you what,
outside chance.
Matchroom, I tell you what, if that happens, that will actually be the greatest moment in PUBG esports history.
That would be a huge comeback. Party look back over towards AHQ, taking a couple shots. He's going to go down. Lazarus was running a very aggressive split, so there's no support except for long range that's going to be coming through. Civ does get the down and flush back over towards CC, but Party is going to go down for that. Lazarus down to 2.
All right, Kane making a dash across a lot of firing lines. He ends up getting knocked by Luke 12 up there. Once again, Lazarus hasn't had to move too far. They're just kind of covering that northern angle on La Bandita. Uncivil's coming into this now, picks up Chaiwei, trying to get some more shots in, is backed off by Leo.
Just trying to pick up more kills at this point. Lazarus sitting on 7. You know, a couple of these other teams might want some of these points, Lazarus. You can kind of relent at this stage. You made your point with the 4 a.m. drop earlier.
They really did. I mean, look at this, 8 kills here. Of course,
yeah.
You know, they won the battle for the middle
Hacienda battle. I'm
just so blown away by what they're doing today. They are just incredible.
But look at Levis kind of creeping up back behind this. Faze has to be very vulnerable up towards the top, but there's a lot of members of Faze over here that Sting Divine is going to have to contend with. Go ahead, get the stims up onto it, but you can see Faze feels like they've got a lot of control over this angle, looking back down into the crater. And this is kind of what I was talking about. This is the wall around outside of the crater. The guys down towards the center don't really know what's happening on the outside. They don't have good sight lines back towards. If Faze is not careful, Levis could find a very sneaky angle back behind them and do a ton of damage.
Well, Levis continues the crawl, the army crawl up the hill. Right now, Faze's attention is in different directions, but ooh, they're gonna take some damage from Jeff Laka, landing a headshot with that SLR. But Uba gonna be able to get behind the crest of this hill and get rezzed by Fuzzface, assuming Levis doesn't have anything to say about it.
He sees it, and you can see he wants it, goes for the spray, and that's 2 down back over for Faze. The spin comes back around. They get the down onto it, but look, HC is charging over here trying to get these reses off.
And that is going to be the end of the day for Sting Divine, the end of the tournament for them.
T1!
Oh, here comes T1.
If they make this push, if they were paying attention to how the knocks were coming through, they could capitalize on a huge moment and catch Faze while they're trying to get their meds back off. Jeff Laka leading the charge up this hillside. He's got to figure out how does he want to play this. He doesn't have a lot of utility, just smoke grenades. It's not going to be a frag that takes down Faze if T1 gets him. It's going to be just a brutal approach off of this, and they realize, okay, it's taken a little bit too long, but I don't know. Is Faze still expecting anyone off of this angle? Looks like they're starting to hunt around a little bit more, realizing that they were vulnerable from that angle, so trying to spot it out. Shots come from T1, and it's going to force them to play a little bit more defensively now, and they should be able to creep away from this and be prepared.
This is what I wanted to see from T1 more today. Being aggressive, taking opportune moments. AHQ is going to go down in 9th place.
That's
so
big.
55 points will be the cutoff mark for 16th right now.
But we got a couple of teams that could potentially do it. You can see Red Canids just nipping at the heels back over towards it. AFF but in a lot of skirmish. I mean, the La Bandita crater area is so messy to play around. There's so many weird angles because we have like walls that are missing sections of them. There's just kind of like all of this rubbish that's down around the bottom of it you have to be careful about. There's so many sneaky angles that people could be hiding behind. It makes it so much harder. And to have a finals end around this location, Lord, so much pressure.
It's going to be really fascinating to see how these teams approach it. Of course, the Red Canids have been in there for quite a while, but they need more points. They need to get get some kills here. They see TSM over on their left-hand flank, and they want to try to get some more points in. Iroh, Michael, Rory on the side, and he is going to get backed off. They're spotted out by TSM. I'm a little surprised that the Canids waited that long to get this kicked off.
They wanted to wait for the moment that TSM stopped kind of juking around, looking on something, but TSM is not going to stop for it. TSM got the smokes down, starting to encroach back over towards Red Canids. You can see Aspu's trying to hold the angle back, but Iroh's going to step up to the side of it, try to connect, but not going to get any damage off. A lot of spray coming through, but it's got to be very, very careful off of this. Michael is down. Rory's taking a lot of damage, and now you can see the push starting to come back away from this. Red Canids want nothing to do. They're like, no, we need to stay alive. The problem with it is you guys also need kills.
Right, that grenade gonna back off the Red Canids. Rusty, Zera, and Raspu moving back and forth, trying to see if they can outposition him, but a nice peek by Rory. Is he going to be able to secure the kill? That grenade might roll a little bit too far. Raspu finds a decent angle, but there are no shots making their mark there.
That was so close. Now gonna hop into going for the res right now. FaZe Clan starting to come more and more alive. The threat looms back behind it. The grenade's gonna go a little bit too far. Not take down the Red Canids, but you can see TSM wants to make this push. They know that the Canids are vulnerable right now. FaZe is just looping around the circle on the hunt for anything that moves, taking shots at literally anything they see.
I mean, FaZe has to absolutely clean everything up. A Freak of Freaks Fatal moving up onto the remnants of Vendetta. A grenade comes in. It is just a bit too far. Lambu is going to find him. That is going to be Vendetta out in 5th place, and that will be their tournament.
Freak of Freaks playing back down towards the south. Red Canids trying to separate out and away. TSM in a good position right now, but finding themselves under fire from FaZe. That's going to be nice shots coming out from Uba. Michael is now down. Multiple downs have come his way, so he's going to bleed out very quickly. TSM trying to find some type of cover point. Rory goes down as well. That's Iroh. That's starting to turn up for FaZe. We knew the fact that this was a potential possibility, but is it too late?
Uba is starting to go Super Saiyan here. I don't know if it is going to be enough, though.
FaZe is in 19th.
Wow, FaZe is getting up there. They're climbing. They're trying. The Red Canids have backed off, as have AFF. AFF is not too far out of this as well. 4 more points for them. That is all they need. There is everything on the line between these three teams.
These 3 teams, out of all the ways to end it right now, it's going to be the Red Canids taking shots back over towards Fuzzface, but he manages to juke almost all of them. Gets back towards safety. Fuzzface, the rest of the guys from FaZe hold down the north, back down towards the south. It's still 3 members of Red Canids, 2 members from a Freak of Freaks. We have 8 people alive with these 3 teams active.
If you ever doubted FaZe Clan, now is not the time. These guys are hungry and they are confident. They have the big stage experience to get this done. A Freak of Freaks Fatal on your southeast. 8Z is pushing up on them, and oh my god.
And M249 on top of that. That's a ton of ammo to work with. That's going to be a big replenishment off of it. So 8Z is going to start creeping back up over on this angle. They know they need to kill everything that's moving around them. They're at 13 kills right now. They're so aggressive pushing across these angles. Uba does see where Freak of Freaks is at, but look at this push coming out from 8Z. This could be the moment for FaZe, all depending on how they opt into playing this right now, and a lot of it hinges off the positioning of 8Z and how Afrika moves. New circle pops. Does favor Red Canids, but let's be honest, FaZe doesn't care about where the circle's at right now. They are just on the hunt.
I mean, if Fatal has no idea that 8Z is over here, he could end their day very, very quickly. You can see Lambu is cooking a grenade potentially. Oh, he's picking up some items from his teammate there. They're giving a little switch off, and this could be huge. If he finds 8Z here, smokes are coming down first. Maybe seeing if he can bait 8Z out a little bit. Fuzzface coming over for the shot. 8Z gonna get Lambu.
Now looks back around the other side of it. You can see Shadow's like, I didn't realize they were this close. Trying to figure out what's going on. That's more utility being used. Shadow's on the outside of the safe zone. He's got to push through them or Red Canids. Grenades are starting to come out. Shadow's trying to use something. Got to flush out 8Z if he wants to continue his push off to the side of this. FaZe getting more control over this angle, but that is Red Canids hearing everything that's going down right now. That grenade lands close at the feet. Third-party shots coming into it. Everybody wants all of these kills. A Freak of Freaks Fatal's trying to crawl through the smokes down to 16 life. The blue right back behind him. Which direction is going to go? Looks back out, and it's going to go back over to Fuzzface.
All right, this is going to come down to this battle. The Red Canids versus FaZe here.
1
this
point.
Is huge. This is crazy. They're right next to each other. 3v3.
So now we do have the Knids that were posted up. They know a lot of the information, but FaZe has a lot of different angles that they can play around, and they're trying to use that. The smokes that the Knids are playing around right now gives away some of their positions. They want to play it a little bit more aggressive. Oba trying to take out that grenade, seeing if he can get anything off of it. So now we do have Rusty0 right up on this angle. How's the push going to come through?
All right, Andy FPS peeking up over the hill. Uba not able to connect with his spray, but he knows where the Knids are now. Going to get that grenade up and over, but it is too little too late. The Knids have already moved off, sniffing that one out. Rusty0 on the left, Andy in the middle here, and you can see Fuzzface making the flank for FaZe. They control a lot of this circle. The red Knids are a little grouped up, and it looks like FaZe is going to try to surround them.
15 kills looking back over towards the red Knids. Both of these teams playing to stay alive, stay in this tournament, make their way over towards Oakland. So much stakes right now for both of these teams. So now Rusty0 still holding back down towards the center. Now all the smokes are starting to come through. Psycho does connect with one shot onto this. You can see the dance around. Everybody's trying to figure out where the reposition's coming through. Rusty0 takes a little bit of damage, but Fuzzface still trying to encroach up onto it. Psycho goes for the peek onto it. Gotta be so cautious. I love the fact that we're getting the Toby eye tracker right now to see exactly how these teams are reacting.
Look at this. Uba's going to reposition. A lot of this is going to come down to him. The superstar for FaZe Clan. AT coming up over the hill. Nothing there. The smokes are down. Still a little bit of utility available for FaZe as they are looking to come around.
Andy goes for the peek off to the side of it. That's going to go in position. Uba steps up, gets one. Goes for the spray into the second one. There is just one Knid alive right now, and FaZe knows it. They're starting to push back through this. Rusty0 playing inside the smokes. The hunt is on. The spray comes through, and the EU Giants, FaZe Clan, walk away with a huge, massive 18-kill victory.
FaZe Clan shocking the world. 18 kills and a chicken dinner. I don't know if it's enough, but goddamn Matchroom, they made a hell of a round.
Fuzzface, 8 kills. Uba, 6 kills. AT, these guys stepped up and played when it mattered. You can see it is just adulation on their faces. This was so tense. They were so upset about how they were playing through the stages to finally step up and play when it matters, to be that clutch team we knew they could be.
The impossible, the unbelievable.